so excited to share this delicious strawberry honey butter recipe with you. It's one of my favorites. It's lower in sugar than most butter recipes and perfect if it's your first time canning. Gather all your ingredients and prep them according to the recipe, okay? And then also wash your jars, your bands, your lids. Get those ready before you start anything else. One thing I think is really fun about what I am showing you in this recipe is that I'm just using a regular pot that I had here at home. You don't need a specific canning pot. The reason is this recipe, I'm gonna use an 8-ounce jar, so it's a smaller jar, and I just have to ensure that the water covers it by 1 to 2 inches. This pot is deep enough for that, and I have a lid, so I have all I need there. And then if you didn't have something to put on the bottom, like a canning rack, I made one with the bands like this, just tied together, and my jars can set on this. And you essentially have a lot of the tools you need, as long as you still have this and your jar lifter, you should be good to go. 60 to 90 minutes is a long time, so one thing I would recommend is be sure you plan to be near your kitchen at all times when this is cooking. You don't want it to burn, so you are gonna want to occasionally come in and stir and make sure nothing is sticking or burning. The whole point is when you have something like this, the strawberries, when you first puree them, are very liquidy, and you wanna cook them down for a long time. That's what lets those natural sugars come out and really helps it thicken, and it's just a lot more yummy. So you want it to hold shape on a spoon. And I've tested this a few times, so now I believe it's gotten to that point, and that's when you scoop it up and it holds its shape like this. It's not running, like I can move my spoon around and it's not falling off. You can see on the bottom it's just staying on. So that's when you know it's thick enough, and with the time that has elapsed, you know has been long enough, it's ready to be canned. I've got my jars warmed and ready. I'm going to get one out, place it on a towel or wood cutting board. I will use my funnel. So for this recipe, you're gonna fill it to a 1/4 inch headspace. It's gonna be thick, so it's gonna be a lot more messy. You're gonna take your headspace tool. For this recipe, it's 1/4 inch. So I want to ensure that when I go around the jar, all the way around, the level of that butter is to the bottom of this tool, which it is. And then I'm gonna take my bubble remover and I'm going to go all the way around the jar, insert, pull back into the jar, down the side and in, down the side and in, just to clear any bubbles. That looks good. So because these are thicker, your tool is gonna be pretty dirty, so I try to put everything back in the same spot each time. And for this reason, you want to really wipe down the top of your jar. All right, so wipe this down. We're ready to add our lid. Here's our lid, here's our band. We're gonna go fingertip tight, so we're gonna go just till we meet resistance and then just tighten it a little bit. We're gonna put it back in our canner, and you are ready to continue the process. I've filled all my jars, placed them in my pot, and now I will turn up the heat and cover this. We will wait till there is a rolling boil and it's really bubbling before I start my processing time. For this specific recipe, it'll be 10 minutes. Make sure you set a timer, don't forget, and then we will come back. I'm going to turn off my heat and remove the lid, and I'm ready to take my jars out. I'm gonna lift it, place it onto the countertop, onto a wood cutting board or on a towel, not directly on it. And then we're gonna let all the jars sit for 12 to 24 hours before we check the seal. We have finished the whole process for our delicious strawberry honey butter. This is like, it's very yummy, I'm just telling you right now. If you check your seal, you make sure this doesn't press down, everything looks good. There's no butter seeping out. It's good to go. This is very exciting. If you've wondered, like, what is the difference between a butter and a jam? There's so many different names for all these things. A butter is pureed, so it's gonna be a thick consistency, but it's gonna be pureed, while a jam has all those larger pieces of fruit. So just keep that in mind, but this is one I recommend that you try, and I know your family will love it as much as we do.